I think it's almost a total change from, because when I started in education, there was no research base in real estate. It was, well, virtually none at all. It's developed over my lifetime. That the research base has developed from virtually nothing to where it is today, which is a proper academic discipline supporting a very interesting industry. I think at the start, if I'm right, when I got my PhD in 1985, I think there are only about 4 other people who'd actually done one in the real estate field. And I don't just mean real estate valuation, I mean real estate investment and finance. And investment and finance wasn't really a discipline. There was almost no work on that at all. In some ways, it leads to the fact that that the industry has moved from a more of that professional valuation law-based material to the investment and finance, and a lot of the schools have moved from built environment schools to business schools on that basis. So I think that's the major change that I've seen over the years. But I started very much in valuation, and on all the work I've done in the past 2 or 3 years has been very heavily valuation based. So it's come full circle, really. Some work that we've been doing on what's called long-term value as opposed to market value. We've taught the students, or taught some of you, for years on market value, but there's a whole new definition of value being promulgated within the global financial community, and particularly in the EU, and we've done quite a lot of work with the Bank of England on this as well, which is called long-term value. And I've been working internationally trying to work out how we might implement a whole new valuation basis, which is very, very difficult. The EU are thinking about it. They've put there's a definition in play, but I don't really think they have any idea how complicated it is to actually get individual property valuations done in a different form to market value. And so we're trying to convince the EU not to go down that route, and to go down a sort of combination of valuation and analysis of markets to try and work out whether markets are mispriced or underpriced, overpriced compared to the actual exchange price in the marketplace. And we don't really think the valuer is equipped to do that. So doing the other work we've been doing recently with Pat McAllister and Pete Wyatt mainly is on development viability. So all these viability studies to work out the developer contributions. And then Pete and I spent 3 years actually trying to draft a professional guidance note for the valuers undertaking viability studies. And it was very, very hard going, because obviously there's a lot of vested interest. The developers were on the steering group, and so were the local authorities, and they didn't really see it in the same way at all. So trying to draw a line through that. And that was challenging, I have to say, but that is now finished and published. So the long-term valuation stuff is my sort of final piece of work, or I think it will be my final piece of work. Yes, as far as teaching is concerned, I retired from teaching 3 years ago, because I was doing a different job for government. And that's a regret. I've missed that a lot. I haven't missed the marking, and I haven't missed all the admin that goes with teaching, but I've missed the standing in front of the students and hopefully them enjoying it as much as I did. I suspect not, by the way, but there you go. I have missed that. It's been an interesting watch to see how the programs have changed through time. They've mimicked this change from being very much a built environment, valuation law, planning, type discipline into an economics and finance discipline, which mimics the change from us going from urban and regional studies at Reading when I started into finally ending up in Henley Business School for the last, I don't know how many years it is now, but over 10, I'm sure. And those programs have moved in that, obviously moved in that direction with the finance, the investment, with the research base coming in finance and investment than ever. We didn't have subjects in finance and investment when I started teaching. They came later. Well, I suppose I should say the thousands of students that have gone through while I've been teaching, and it must be thousands, and they're all over the real estate industry. But I'm not going to say that. I think the one that gave me most satisfaction was Christmas Eve I think it was 2005, 2006, where I finished a report for government on commercial leases, and that had been a long-running debate in the industry and in government, and the government have been threatening to legislate from about 1992 onwards. They've started thinking about legislating on commercial leases. Their policy was absolutely based on all our recommendations. So everything we said, they basically put in their policy, next policy statement. So I think I've got to say that particular report is possibly the proudest moment proudest, I'm not sure what to say. I think relief is best when it went off, and it went off on Christmas Eve for reasons that I shall never know.